That week 4 in fantasy football. Early game going on right now behind me. The Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints. Minnesota's winning the game. Alexander Madison scoring a touchdown. Dalvin Cook is playing this game. And as you know, you playing fantasy football, you know that Alvin Kamara is out. Okay. But we're not going to talk about that game because the fact is that it's going now, and I couldn't give you information about that. I did yesterday on the FSP show. But we're going to talk about the Sunday afternoon games and the night game and Monday night. We're going to talk about that. Been burning the midnight oil, trying to figure out who to play, when to play them, and if you should play them or sit them. So I'm going to go to the first game at 1 o'clock. I'm not going to procrastinate because I got somewhere to go after this show, and I want to get this over with so I can. I hate to say it like that, but I got a commitment this afternoon. So this is how we're going to do. We'll go first. Cleveland Browns, my Cleveland Browns, at the Atlanta Falcons. In two quarterback leagues, you play Jacoby Brissett. I'm telling you, people, he's being underestimated. He's got a lot of weapons. He's got two solid running backs, probably the best running back tandem in the NFL, in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And you do play both of these guys. Nick Chubb as a running back 1, and Kareem Hunt, you can put him in running back 2, or you could put him in more likely the flex, but definitely you can play him. And I know people, let me put it this way, and I'm going to be perfectly frank. Perfectly frank. What happened? What happened to my picture? What happened to my start cam? I'm sorry about that. I'm going to be perfectly frank. So-called experts. For the last week, I think the week before, they said sit Jacoby Brissett. Not here. I told you to play Jacoby Brissett. And it took a 20-plus, in a lot of leagues, 20-plus, if you play PPR, 20-plus performance last week to convince my my partner that you should play Amari Cooper. Now, I'm not saying that Amari Cooper is going to get 20-plus every single week, but he gets targets. He's the number 1 wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns. He gets targets. And what do I say before? Targets equal opportunities. Targets equal opportunities. You play Amari Cooper. And the fact is this. He's a viable option. He proved that last week, I should say. He proved that last week. And because you have a wanting for if you don't have the top 3 in Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, you're looking for a tight end. I know this is my Cleveland Browns, but they've got a lot of talent. David Njoku should not be on any waiver wire or anybody's bench. He should be playing. You saw what he did last week. I think he outscored Amari Cooper. And Jacoby Brissett is Mr. Checkdown. He likes to check it down if it's possible. And David Njoku's got a big contract, and he should be well utilized in this offense. Okay? So I would play him without a doubt. On the other side of the ball, Marcus Mariota. it's going to be a problem. Myles Garrett's not going to play this game. Myles Garrett is not playing this game. And Marcus Mariota is a mobile quarterback. Mobile quarterback. So he's definitely in a 2-quarterback league. Absolutely play this guy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I play Cordell Patterson? I know. I have a hard time playing Cordell Patterson. But I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be playing from behind. They're going to want to pass the football. So Cordell Patterson, not so much. But Drake London and Kyle Pitts, 2 big, tall, 1 wide receiver and one tight end. You play them without a doubt. Let's move on to Buffalo Bills, and this game should be fantasy heaven for a lot of people. A lot of people, because you got 2 dynamic quarterbacks running their teams, and you got players on both sides. Buffalo and Baltimore. I'm going to Buffalo first, and then I go to Baltimore. Josh Allen, that's a no-brainer. Come on. Josh Allen, that's a no-brainer. To me, it as we speak, to me, it's a 3-horse race for who's going to win the MVP. It's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts. That's the 3. There's nobody else. That's the 3. Because they are standout players on their team and in the NFL. And this is a matchup between 2 dynamic quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Okay? Probably because the popular names is Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are going to be, whoever comes out a winner in this game is going to be probably the favorite for the MVP. That's just because it's a popularity contest also. And most people before the season was saying that Josh Allen was more than likely going to be the MVP. So what I'm saying is this: fair or not fair, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are 2 candidates for the MVP. And this is going to be one hell of a game. In Baltimore, you play Josh Allen. You play Stephon Diggs. You play Isaiah McKenzie. And if you're looking for a tight end, you play Dawson Knox. Baltimore's defense is not what it used to be. They're not a good defense. Not a good, especially in the passing game. They're not a good defense. Play Dawson Knox. And play the kicker. They're going to be in positions to score points, whether it's touchdowns or field goals. You play Tyler Bass, the kicker. I know I don't say too much, but this offense is going to be able to move the football. Whether they score touchdowns or not, they're going to be in position to score points. You play the kicker because they're going to be put in position for him to kick field goals, besides extra points. You play with Lamar Jackson, that's a no-brainer to me. To me, that's a no-brainer. You play Rashad Bateman. I know this is a tough defense, but there's 2 options in the passing game in Baltimore. That's Rashad Bateman and Lamar Jackson's favorite target, Mark Andrews. And then you play the kicker because it's Justin Tucker, the best kicker in the NFL. And this team is going to be put in positions to score points, whether it's touchdowns or field goals. That's just the bottom line. This is going to be one hell of a game. Okay? Let's move on to the Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm running through these people. Running through this. Just pay attention. Pay attention. Do I play Carson Wentz? Hell to the no. Carson Wentz got sacked last week 9 times. 9 times. He's hot garbage. Hot garbage. I would say this. And this is the order I would play these guys. I would play all 3 of them, but I'm giving you the order that I would play. Curtis Samuel, Jahad Dotson, and then Terry McLaurin. I know Terry McLaurin has scored in the last 3 weeks in double digits, but I don't have that much faith in Carson Wentz and getting Terry McLaurin involved enough. It took me to the second half for him to get involved in the offense. Carson Wentz throwing him the football. The second half of last week's game. And that's against a division rival in the Philadelphia Eagles. Come on, man. That's your number 1 wide receiver, and you don't target him in the first half? You wait till the second half? I said earlier, before the season started, that I know Terry McLaurin is supposed to be the number 1 wide receiver on the Washington Commanders. But I don't have faith in Terry McLaurin for the simple fact is their quarterback is so inconsistent. So if the quarterback's throwing the football, not throwing the football to Terry McLaurin, that means it's going to be inconsistent in what he. I know he scored double-digit points, but going forward, I don't know. I don't know. It's up in the air. Up in the air. So, like I said, in that order, Curtis Samuel, who's a jack of all trades, like a Debo Samuel, like a Debo Samuel, Jahad Dotson, and then Terry McLaurin. Okay. On the other side of the ball, you know what? In a 2 quarterback league, I would play Cooper Rush because he's been more than capable of handling this offense. I play Zeke. I know people like Tony Pollard, but I like Zeke in this game. Definitely like CeeDee Lamb. Now, he started off a little rough, dropping passes and inconsistent beginning of last week's game with the Dallas Cowboys. But then CeeDee Lamb lit it up after that. Got himself together. So, number 1 option for Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb. And quite naturally, I know I haven't been talking about kickers, but I'm going to talk about kickers here. Ideal condition about kickers. Brett Maher. They're playing in Dallas. Inside the dome. Dallas is going to move the football. If they don't score touchdowns, they definitely put them in position to score field goals. I think Brett Maher in this game. The other guys, I don't even think they get double digits. Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown. This is supposed to be the first game Michael Gallup was playing. You don't know what you're going to get. Don't know what you're going to get. Let's move on to Seattle and Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, people, believe it or not, are one of the top 5 scoring offenses in the NFL. The Detroit Lions. Yes. The offense is that capable with Jared Goff. Yes. They got options. Even though that DeAndre Swift, the running back, and Amon-Ra St. Brown are not going to be in this game. That means you play Jamal Williams, who's been getting a lot of goal line touches even when DeAndre Swift was playing. But it's his backfield. It's his backfield. Now, Craig Reynolds is the running back for the Detroit Lions. He's going to be sprinkled in, but I don't think he's going to be relevant unless Jamal Williams gets injured. And let's knock on wood that doesn't happen. Amon-Ra St. Brown, like I said, is not playing in this game. DJ Shark is not playing in this game. He's out. So it falls back to number 8. Who's number 8? Josh Reynolds in Detroit. Play Josh Reynolds because, like I said, this is one of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL. And you play T.J. Hawkinson, because if Jared Goff is going to throw to, he's got to throw to somebody. T.J. Hawkinson and Josh Reynolds are the only two options. Somebody is going to get doubled, and somebody's going to eat. But I'm saying because the fact is that these two guys are the best passing receivers in Detroit right now due to injury. You play them. Let's move on to the Los Angeles Chargers at the Houston Texans. Justin Herbert coming back from injury. Well, not coming back, but played through an injury and didn't play well. Jacksonville ate up, tore them up. The LA Chargers last week. Not in Houston. It may be a close game, but I like Justin Herbert in this game. We go wins and losses on Saturday. I don't go wins and losses on today. I go, this is only a fantasy show, so it's not wins and losses and over-unders or whatever. I like Justin Herbert to rack up some nice points in this game. Austin Eckler, because Keenan Allen is not an option because he's out, is an option in this game. Now, I know Mike Williams salvaged his fantasy production last week with a touchdown, but I like Mike Williams in this game. I know people are like, Mike Williams is up and down. Yes, that's true. Well, I think this is one of his up games. Okay? I think this is one of his up games. I like Mike Williams in this game. On the other side of the ball, Houston, Texas, I can't play Davis Mills. Come on. Dameon Pierce, because Dameon Pierce I do like. Okay. Some arenas they don't like Dameon Pierce, but I like Dameon Pierce because the Chargers are one of the worst teams against the run. I know they improved pieces in their defense, but they haven't improved their run defense. And I like Dameon Pierce to be able to run the football. I also like Brandon Cooks. Now, I know Brandon Cooks hasn't been doing that much. That's a fact. He hasn't been doing that much, but I like him in this game. I think they're going to be playing from behind. They're going to have to throw the football, and the number one option for the Houston Texans is Brandon Cooks. Not so much Nico Collins or the tight end Farrell Brown. All right, let's move on to the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Let's go to Ryan Tannehill. No, I don't want to go to Ryan Tannehill. Not in this game. Not in a division matchup. Hell to the no. You got to play Derrick Henry. He's a stud. He's a stud, and the defense, the offense is run through Derrick Henry. It is a run-first offense. Robert Woods is the number one. Traylon Burks is the number two. They've already said they want to get Traylon Burks more involved. Traylon Burks is a wide receiver 3-4 right now. Until we see it, you can't believe it. Until we see it, we can't believe it. Robert Woods. I would play Robert Woods. Not Traylon Burks. Until we see it, then we can believe it. Not Austin Hooper. It used to be back in Jonnu Smith and Delaney Walker days, the tight ends, that Ryan Tannehill would feature those guys. It's not the case with Austin Hooper. You would think so, because they like throwing to the tight end. They used to like throwing to the tight end. Okay? Let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts. Matt Ryan is a two-quarterback league play. Jonathan Taylor is an every week play. Michael Pittman Jr., unless he's hurt, is an every week play. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. Let's move on to Chicago Bears at the New York Giants. Excuse me. All I can say is this. In 3 games, the quarterback, who's Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears, has thrown the ball. Has thrown the ball 28 times. 28 times. In 3 games. 28 times. A lot of teams throw the football about that much in 1 game. And Justin Fields has thrown the football in 3 games 28 times. This is a run-heavy offense that doesn't throw the football or rarely throws the football. That's the better term, the better saying, rarely throws the football. I can't say the early season, preseason Darnell Mooney. I can't say that. I can't say that in all good conscience. I liked them going into the season, and once I saw the last 2 games, I said, forget this. The third game, I definitely he was off my roster. It's not going to happen. Now down the road, it may happen whenever. But up until the last 3 games, you can see that the writing is on the wall that Darnell Mooney is not going to get many looks. He's going to be blocking for the run game. Speaking of the run game, David Montgomery is out. It's the Khalil Herbert show. Hopefully you picked him up on waivers and you can play him in this shop. Because just like the Tennessee Titans, the offense runs through the running game. Okay? I can't tell you to play any wide receiver or tight end because I like Cole Kmet. I can't honestly tell you to play him. Cole Kmet had 6 points last week. I'm sorry, not last year. Last week. That's it. And the first 2 games, I think he had 0 points. So 6 points in 3 weeks. Come on. Cole Kmet cannot be on your roster. It could not be on your roster. All right, let's move on to the Giants. Saquon Barkley, Richie James. That's it. Kenny Galladay, come on. Been crying for the football. When he had his opportunity, a prime opportunity to catch a football, he dropped it. And I don't think he's a favorite of the coaching staff. I think the coaching staff has soured on him, quite a bit. You got to play the game, and he's not one to play that game. All right, let's move on to Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles. Very interesting game. The Eagles playing up against their former coach. And the former coach looks like he's turned around the Jacksonville Jaguars. A viable option, a viable team. I shouldn't say viable. A very dangerous team to play with their number one pick of last year in Trevor Lawrence. Going up against, in my opinion, the MVP so far in Jalen Hurts. I absolutely love Jalen Hurts in this game. Let's go with the Jaguars first. You play James Robinson. I don't know what's going on. I'm not a believer in James Robinson, but you've seen it. You've seen it multiple games. James Robinson coming back from Achilles. Most guys don't play as well as James Robinson has played coming off an Achilles. Medical history has shown that holds players back. That takes away from their explosiveness. So far this season, in the last 3 games, James Robinson has defied medical history. But going forward, I mean, you still got to play him. You still got to play him for the simple fact of what he's done up until this point. But I got to believe, even though it's quite naturally medically possible that he comes back and he's just as good as he was before he got hurt from the Achilles, that he goes down sometime this season. So you play James Robinson. You play Christian Kirk, number one option for this team. The number one option for this team. The other, Zay Jones, I know he's been doing things, but I can't, in all good conscience, against this Eagles defense, say they play Zay Jones or Marvin Jones Jr. or Evan Ingram. I don't think they're going to be viable in this game. On the other side of the ball, I told you I like Jalen Hurts. He's my MVP so far. I've seen him play more than once, and it's like night and day. And I must admit, when he first got drafted, I said he was a backup quarterback. Well, he has evolved dramatically. You remember Josh Allen? I was wrong about Josh Allen a couple years ago. I said he was an inaccurate quarterback with a gun as for an arm. Whatever he did prior to last preseason, he improved his accuracy and his play. Well, deja vu all over again. That's what Jalen Hurts has done. I don't know if they went to the same quarterbacks coach or whatever, but you can see the big difference in Jalen Hurts. You play Jalen Hurts. I like Miles Sanders in this game. I know a lot of people don't because of Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott are always in the game. I like Miles Sanders in this game. Of course, the two playmakers, this is a hell of a duo in a wide receiver room. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. You got to play them. Come on, man. Really? You got to play them. You see what they've done in the first 3 weeks of the season? And Jacksonville's going to have their hands filled. They pick their poison. Who do you play? Who do you try to take away? A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith? The other one, if you try to take one away, the other one's going to kill you. That's a fact. That's what happened in the last 2 weeks. First it was A.J. Brown, and quite naturally, I think the offense, they tried to take it away. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith went off. They got a double-edged sword in the wide receiver position. You play those two guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas Goedert went off in this game either. He's definitely a viable option in the tight end position. Let's move on to the New York Football Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Zach Wilson is back, starting quarterback for the New York Jets. What are we going to find about Zach Wilson? How is he going to play? They're playing in Pittsburgh. Who's Zach Wilson going to lean on in the wide receiver room? Is it going to be Garrett Wilson, who went off last week with Joe Flacco? Is it going to be Elijah Moore? I would play the tight end, Tyler Conklin, because he's involved in this offense. I would play both Elijah Moore, and if you have a piece of this, Garrett Wilson. I think these are two dynamic young wide receivers that are going to get fed early and often by Zach Wilson if he's any kind of quarterback and if he's accurate enough to make a difference. Don't play Zach Wilson. You play his wide receivers in Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. Now, both these guys are flex positions unless they prove you, and then you got to see if they're worthy of wide receiver 1 or 2. Not wide receiver 1, but worth wide receiver 2 position. Right now, they're flexes. And then you play Brees Hall. I said last week, and I'll say it again this week. More and more, as each week goes by, Brees Hall is going to be taking over this backfield completely. And Michael Carter is going to be sprinkled in. Sprinkled in. You try to grab Brees Hall as much as possible. You try to grab Brees Hall as much as possible. Trust me when I say that. Okay? Anyway, let's move on to the next game, next matchup. Oh, I'm sorry. Pittsburgh Steelers. Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth. Got who you playing there. Mitchell Trubisky, his days may be numbered if he doesn't play better. But right as of right now, I would play Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, and Pat Freiermuth. I'm sorry. Got distracted for a minute. All right, let's move on to the next game. Arizona Cardinals at the Carolina Panthers. I'm not a big Kyler Murray fan. This offense has been dysfunctional at best. Dysfunctional at best. But they're playing the Carolina Panthers. They're playing the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Do I play Kyler Murray? Maybe in a 2-quarterback league. He's not a starter for me. Not a starter for me. I'm not impressed. I know he got a big contract, but he's one of these guys that got a big contract, and I don't think it was warranted. If James Conner does not play Eno Benjamin. James Conner's a little banged up. If he plays, then you play him. If he doesn't play, then quite naturally he's out, and you have to go to Eno Benjamin if you want to be involved with a running back in his offense. You play Marquise Brown, Greg Dortch, Zach Ertz. That's those guys in that passing game, and each one of those guys is probably going to get double digits. I'm not saying 18, 19 points. I'm saying 10, 11 points around there. So they're flexes. You can play Zach Ertz. He did decent play for a tight end position. Marquise Brown and Greg Dortch are flex positions. That's what they are. Excuse me. Do I play Baker Mayfield? Hell no. Christian McCaffrey, you got to play him because he's one of your studs. But he's banged up as usual. And I would say that you play Christian McCaffrey, but limit your expectations of that. Because the fact is that he may be a committee play. Let me put it that way. Either Chuba Hubbard or Deontay Foreman may come in to spell him more often than not. Okay, in this game, but you got to play him. DJ Moore, this is Baker Mayfield, and he's inconsistent. Has taken away the value of DJ Moore in this offense because of the quarterback play. That's a fact. That's a fact. Some people like Baker Mayfield. No. He's not that dude. They thought he was going to be the savior or the better option. You may have to sooner or later. You may have to put Sam Darnold in because Baker Mayfield is not that much better, if better, than Sam Darnold was last year. I'm telling you, really. And I hate to say it, but They probably would have been better off not making that trade or not making that move for Baker, sticking with Sam Darnold, save themselves some money, and just ride it out until next year when they can pick up a quarterback uh, in the draft. I'm being real. I'm not a hater of Baker. I'm a hater of his play. Plain and simple. Hater of his play. And I'm not the only one. You can see it. He's not that dude. He's not that dude. All right, let's move on to New England and the Green Bay Packers. You can't play Brian Hoyer. Mac Jones is out. He's dealing with a high ankle. That could be a month. Tell you the truth. That could be a month. High ankle sprain could be a month. The dreaded high ankle sprain. You play the two running backs, they're going to rely on the running game. They're going to rely on Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. So you play those guys. Both of those guys are flexes. Both of them are flexes. All right. Then you have, because Jacoby Myers is out. He's hurt. You got Devontae Parker. No hands Nelson Aguilar. Jacoby Myers, like I said, is out. And Hunter Henry, who's extremely touchdown dependent. He was last year. Now he's not getting those red zone targets. He's not as valuable as he was last year. All right. Let's move on to the Green Bay Packers. Come on, man. You got to play Aaron Rodgers. And he's got a new toy now. He's got a new toy in Romeo Doubs or Dubs or whatever, Doubs, whatever way you pronounce it. And Alan Lazard. I think those two guys, even though Christian Watson is going to be active, you go to those. That's who he's going to be throwing to. That's what he feels comfortable throwing to. He made comments about Romeo Doubs last week, and Romeo Doubs rewarded him with 8 catches and 8 targets and a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. Alan Lazard is a veteran. Doubs is a fourth round wide receiver pick in this past draft. Those are the two options. And maybe Tunyon, Robert Tunyon. He likes throwing to the tight end. I think the fantasy points are going to be split between Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I think they're going to run them, but I don't think that they're going to acquire a great amount of fantasy points in this game. I don't think they're going to acquire a great amount of fantasy points in this game. Let's move on to the next game, 425 game. And it's Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos and a dysfunctional offense in Denver against the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm saying free Javonte Williams. Free Javonte Williams. This Las Vegas defense can be run on. And it should be the Javonte Williams show. I'll say it again. I'll keep on saying it. I don't get paid any money to call plays or put players in and out of the game. I sit on the couch, watch these games, and see and scream at the TV at times. Not scream or yell at the TV at times. And say, it's obvious this guy is the better of the two running backs. And you keep putting the second running back, Melvin Gordon, in prime situations to succeed. And you don't do that with your best running back, which makes no sense. Are you trying to win football games, or are you trying to be a nice guy and let everybody get a piece of the football? Nathaniel Hackett is coming under fire already of his play calling and how he handled uh, personnel in this game. You got to play your best players the most. You got to play them the most. That's all I can say. You play Javonte Williams. Melvin Gordon, okay. Sooner or later, this coach has got to get it. Sooner or later, he's got to get it. Is it this game? This is a really good game to get it because Las Vegas is not good against the run. Not good against the run. And this is one of the better opportunities for Javonte Williams to shine. So you got to get it right. You got to get it right. Cortland Sutton, the tight end. I can't pronounce his name. I call him Albert O. Okay, this should be a game for these two guys. Not so much Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, and the big tight end of Albert O. All right. Las Vegas Raiders. I don't like Derek Carr in this game. The Denver is I know they're playing on the road, but defense travels, and Derek Carr is not playing as well as he played last year. Plain and simple. You're going to run the football, and hopefully, you play Josh Jacobs, and hopefully, they get Devontae Adams involved in this game. I'm not a Mac Hollins fan. I can't tell you to play Mac Hollins, the other wide receiver. I know he had a big game last week. Is that an anomaly, or is that going to be a weekly thing? Not in this game. I don't think it's going to be a weekly thing. You play Darren Waller because that's Darren Waller. That's Darren Waller. You play him without a doubt. All right, let's move on to the next game, which happens to be the late night game in the Kansas City Chiefs at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, it's a no-brainer that you play Pat Mahomes. It's a no-brainer that you play Travis Kelce. Who do you play in the running back position? I don't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Tampa Bay is a very good defense, especially against running backs. I don't like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Juju Smith-Schuster is supposed to be the number one wide receiver. I know Tampa Bay is not that strong against the pass. If I was to play a wide receiver from Kansas City, it would be Juju Smith-Schuster. Only in the flex. He's not a wide receiver 1 or 2. He's a flex. On the other side, do I play Tom Brady? Tom Brady ain't playing as well as he played. And I'll say it like that. Tom Brady ain't playing as well as he played last season. I think a lot of things are on his mind, and the team is not as good as they were last year, especially in the wide receiver positions. Julio is supposed to play, Russell Gage is supposed to play, and Mike Evans is supposed to play. See, at least he's got some guys to throw to that are reliable for him. You got to play Leonard Fournette, even though I'm not a big fan of Leonard Fournette, but Leonard Fournette is going to be the prime running back in here. Rachaad White, I'm telling you, people, that kid's going to be a sleeper here. He's going to be a sleeper. So if you have Leonard Fournette on your roster, if you have room on your bench, invest a position in Rachaad White. Rachaad White, Tampa Bay backup running back. Mike Evans. Leonard Fournette. And I'm up in the air about Tom Brady. I can't come to a conclusion, even though you're looking for one from me. It can go either way in this game because Kansas City has a decent defense. They're not hot trash like they were a few seasons ago. They have a decent defense. And like I said, Tom Brady has not been playing well, even though he has weapons back now. He hasn't been playing well. I think Father Time is finally catching up. All right. So let's go to the last game of the week, and that would be the Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. I'm playing as Matthew Stafford. I know he didn't play well last week, and I know this is on the road against a division rival. I'm playing Matthew Stafford. I'm playing Matthew Stafford. I ain't playing the two running backs in this game, Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. How many times you got to hit your head against the wall before you stop doing that? I'm talking about putting Cam Akers out there. I know he had a decent week last week. Okay, to me that was an anomaly. That was an anomaly. I can't, in good conscience, play Cam Akers. If I was to play a running back, I would play Darrell Henderson. He's the better of the two. He's been running better than Cam Akers. Of course, you got to play Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson, is he coming around? I dropped him in one league. Tell you the truth. I dropped him in one league. I can't believe that he's coming around. He's consistently inconsistent. That's how I see him. He's consistently inconsistent. He played the tight end, Tyler Higbee. On the other side, I can't play Jimmy Garoppolo. I could barely play Jeff Wilson Jr. because he's the starting running back, but going up against the Rams defense. He played Deebo Samuel because he's going to get a lot of touches, whether he's running the football or getting the pass. And then George Kittle. Jimmy G likes throwing to George Kittle. All right? So let me put it this way. I'm going to give you a sleeper in the wide receiver position right now. I gave you a sleeper in Rachaad White in the running backs. I'm going to give you a sleeper. I should have done it when we were talking about that game. This guy should be coming off the injury list very soon. Very, very soon. And this week, let me put it this way. This week would probably be the prime week to pick him up. For the simple fact is, his name is going to be on the radar probably next week. And then people are going to be, because his name is on the radar, they're going to be trying to pick him up. So you rather be 1 week ahead of the curve and not 1 week behind the curve. So I'm telling you, if you have roster room on your bench, someone that you know that is not going to play or just taking up space for whatever reason, you go and look in the wide receiver position on your waiver wire and look for Jameson Williams, a wide receiver out of Detroit. A really, really good wide receiver. I'm telling you, you pick him up and put him on your bench. He did really good wide receiver. He probably would have been in the first round if he hadn't gotten hurt in the college football playoffs. That's how good this kid is. Jameson Williams, wide receiver from Detroit. Pick him up, put him on your bench. If you have an IR slot, you can put him in the IR slot after you pick him up, and then you can put him on your IR slot, and then you can add someone else because the IR slot doesn't count against your whole roster. It's just like a spare space. All right? I'll say this a third time. Jameson Williams, wide receiver out of Detroit. All right? So that ends this week. And I did that pretty quick. That ends this week in my fantasy football predictions. Hopefully you have a good week. If you're 0-3, 1-2, 2-1, you can get your first win or you can get your second, or if you're undefeated, you can get your fourth win, which is even better. But with that being said, I want to thank you for listening. Hopefully, you come back next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll give you week 5. I gave you 2 people that you think about picking up. Rashad White, Tampa Bay, running back. Jameson Williams, wide receiver of Detroit. Okay? I'm going to try to do that every week. Talk to you later. Peace.